Hello and welcome to the I Can Do podcast with Benjamin Lee. We're here to talk about tips and strategies to have an I Can Do mindset. Life is what you put into it. Get the most you can. Here's your host, Benjamin Lee.
Hello and welcome to another episode of I Can Do. Yes, I'm Benjamin Lee. Happy New Year. Okay, it's not officially New Year, but we are getting closer here in the United States to ringing in the new year, January 1st, 2022. You know, growing up, New Year's was always a big day, staying up until midnight. We would go over to my aunt's house, Aunt Peggy in Illinois. We would eat, we'd laugh. She had Nintendo at the time. I can remember playing, I think, Zelda, Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt. There were bowl games at that time. New Year's Day, there may have only been 4 or 5 or 6 bowl games, right? But they were all the big ones. And then in the evening time, we would play Spoons. That is a fun game to play. If you have not played Spoons, then I would encourage you to check it out. It can get dangerous, but nonetheless, it's a fun game. I hope and pray that you have a great New Year's Eve. I know this time of year can be challenging for a lot of people. I want to encourage you that you're not alone, that your Father in heaven, He loves you very much, and His Son, Jesus Christ, He loves you very much, as do I. If you do need help, please reach out, and please reach out to me if I can serve you in some way to assist you. The best is yet to come. We keep moving forward, and we have another opportunity to praise God, to worship God, to glorify Him in the new year. I want to begin sharing some of the reviews that I have received from this podcast or about this podcast through Apple Podcasts, where you can leave me a rating and a review. I would so greatly appreciate it. It will allow others to have access, or at least I think make this podcast more available where other people can see it even more. So if you could leave me a review, leave me an honest review. I have some 5-star reviews. I have a lot of 5-star reviews. I have a 1-star review. So there you go. We'll take any kind of review, okay? This one is from Addicted Mom of 6. And the title of this review is called Truth, Passion, Positivity. She says this: we all need more of this in the world. I love how Ben covers multiple topics and spreads the truth from the Bible. He has a passion for the Lord, and that is seen in every aspect of his life and his family. He wants to share with others. I am so thankful for the men and women who do this and more to spread the kingdom work and love. Thank you very much, Addicted Mom of 6, for posting that review for the I Can Do podcast. I got to tell you, that means a lot to me. I greatly appreciate it. However you support this podcast, thank you so much. I Can Do is being listened to in 36 countries. We are looking forward to moving forward in 2022 as I seek to improve and to provide for you resources and tips, strategies, the truth concerning life from the Bible, so that we can improve together, so that we can grow in our faith, family, fitness, food, finances, you name it, all right? So we're continuing on in Life Beyond the Scale. That's a book that I wrote a couple of years ago. You can find it on my blog, benjaminlee.blog. You can also find it on amazon.com. Today, I'm going to read to you chapter 4. And as I've said in previous podcasts, if you haven't listened to the other chapters, go back and take a listen to them. They're not that long. And then you can read or listen rather to chapter 4. Here we go. Chapter 4, a medicine many do not want. You have 2 options. You can continue to take your pills, or you can exercise and eat healthy and eliminate all of your pills. Which one do you want? This was a question a physician shared with me during a lunch one day in Rockford, Illinois. He was an endocrinologist. I brought him in to talk to some of my physicians. He shared how he would often pose this question to his patients. Sadly, the reply from so many of his patients was that they would rather take pills instead of adopting a healthy approach with diet and exercise. Isn't that weird? Isn't that sad? The one thing people need, want, and can have is health. Yet so many times we decide not to do the very things we need to do. Too many want to take the easy way out instead of working hard. I don't know if I'm the only one who has made this correlation, but I think in America we have become very much like what's seen in the movie WALL-E. What a great movie, by the way, right? Have you seen that movie? It's funny, and yet it's a little scary. Everyone in the film is overweight and lazy. They didn't exercise. They ate and ate and ate. They didn't even walk. They had to relearn how to walk because they were so dormant. When I watched that movie, I couldn't help but think, this is what's happening in America. As we talk about living life beyond the scale, we need to recognize the power of exercise. So many people want some quick diet plan that will shed the weight without exercise. There are plenty of options available if you really want to lose weight fast. But that's all you will really do. You will lose the weight really fast, but you will eventually find the weight again. We don't want to lose the weight, but rather, as my sister, Tanya, told me, we want to release the weight once and for all. That will mean that we'll have to go beyond the scale. We're not looking for quick fixes, but sustainable things we can do for life. We will need to eat well and exercise. That's because it's not just about the number on the scale. It's about life. It's about genuinely living. Therefore, exercise is critical. I've heard many people say exercise is medicine. That's so true. Exercise is powerful. It can change your mood. It's a great way to get the juices flowing for thoughts and creativity. It makes you feel and look better. Someone once said, exercise is a medicine with great side effects. I believe that was Bill Phillips, author of Body for Life. Do you believe this to be true? I do. I learned this early on in life. Through exercise, I could release a lot of my anger. Exercise helped change my mood. It continues to do the same for me now. Walking into doctors' offices and seeing physicians overweight and so many patients suffering had a profound impact on me. Many of the illnesses people suffered from could have been avoided if the patients would have chosen a better lifestyle. While it's easy to look at others and tell them what they need to do, it can be hard to gaze in the mirror and see what we need to do. Now, I know it's easy to say all of this, but it is often harder to actually do. I will be the first to admit that at times I have been a hypocrite. Imagine that. When I was with Pfizer selling cholesterol drugs, blood pressure drugs, and diabetes products, I allowed my health to decline. I eventually had to take one of my own medicines. Grief. What a hypocrite, right? It can happen so quickly, though. I didn't have the proper mindset during a lot of my time while I was in sales. I was so focused during my last few years in college and when I first started with Pfizer, but I allowed life to get in the way. All of those dinner programs and lack of discipline on my part began to show on my waistline. To make matters worse, I was still very connected to the scale. Eventually, I stopped trying to be diligent in my eating and exercise. I played the blame game. I began to use excuses which took away my health. I lied to myself and made excuses like, I'm driving so much and I don't have time to exercise. Or, I need to eat this food at these dinner parties. Sometimes I might say to myself, I've been in shape for so long, taking a little bit of time off and getting out of shape will not hurt me. Sometimes I would say this, I can work out extra and I will be okay, even though I'm eating terribly. It's so easy to deceive ourselves. It's so easy to think we can get away from doing the fundamental things that need to be done. Being in shape takes work. The work is worth it. We just have to get our mindset in the right place to really believe this to be true. We will need to view exercise as medicine. We need to embrace the power of it and how it will positively affect our lives for the better. I would come to really understand the importance of my health a few years later when I moved from Rockford, Illinois to Columbia, Missouri. And you will find out what I mean by that when I read chapter 5 to you next Monday, Lord willing. As we go into the new year, new podcasts will be released Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And so I hope that you will continue to support this podcast. I hope that you will view exercise as medicine. And before I sign off, let me go back to that statement that I made earlier. You and we have two options. We can continue to take our pills, or we can exercise and eat healthy and eliminate all of our pills. Which one do we want? Who are we going to be as we move into the new year? Let's make a decision right now to be healthy, to enjoy every day, and to give God the glory. I can do, so can you. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. If you are in the need or are looking for more motivation in your life, feel free to check out my website, benjaminlee.blog, where you can find hundreds of encouraging, motivational blog posts on a variety of subjects. You can find all of my books, which can also be found on Amazon.com, and other podcast interviews with a variety of people. I hope this helps. Please leave me a rating and a review. I can do, and so can you. Take care, and God bless.